Still waiting and worrying. Many Vermonters still haven't received unemployment checks. Channel 3's Calvin Cutler continues to push for answers about the delays. He's live in Waterbury. Calvin, what'd you find out today?
Well, Darren, so state officials tell me that an old computer system mixed with minor errors on applications can actually set the process back when filing for unemployment. But for one family here in Waterbury who's still waiting on their check, the clock is ticking. Tyler Odette lives in Waterbury and worked as a painter before being laid off because of COVID-19. Odette was supposed to get paid on the 30th, but he says he's still waiting on his check.
The biggest concern for me right now is feeding my kids and paying my bills.
He says he's tried to contact the state numerous times with no luck.
Myself, I've called unemployment. I added it up earlier today. It was 153 times.
Tyler and many other Vermonters are waiting on their checks as the Department of Labor processes record numbers of claims. Many Vermonters are edging upon a financial crisis as families go a month without income and the bills continue to pile up.
I tried to hang on as long as possible.
Andy Burchard is the owner of Northeastern Contracting in St. Albans. He and his 5 employees applied for unemployment and then received letters from the state directing them to call the Department of Labor. Even though he owns a small business, he is eligible because he pays into the state's unemployment fund. But even with the new alphabetized calling schedule, Burchard says he's stuck.
I know other people that's filed it too, and I haven't heard of anybody that's gotten it. So
Burchard is one of thousands waiting for their benefits with no other income. Construction, distribution, and manufacturing operations with this time less than 10 people are allowed to clock back into work on Monday. And also this time, Governor Scott is looking to individual employers to help reinforce the newest guidelines. Thousands of Vermonters back to work next week as the state makes progress in fighting COVID-19.
I mean, that's good news. It's good news for everybody.
Andy Burchard is back at work. We introduced you to him weeks ago when he was struggling to reach the Labor Department. He still hasn't received his benefits. He ended up breaking the governor's executive order so he and his 5-person crew could put food on the table.
We got a lot of work lined up. People are anxiously waiting to get their home repairs done. I got a house to build. He's anxiously waiting for that.
Burchard and his crew are just several out of around 10,000 people who can now return to work on Monday. Construction, manufacturing, and other low-contact jobs can resume if they follow strict guidelines.
Alzheimer's is a disease that robs everyone of just the most precious moments in their lives. And then to have that complicated with the extra layer of COVID, oh my God, unbelievable.
Like every other long-term care facility in Vermont, the Arbors has been on lockdown to protect its residents from COVID-19. Jim Dodds hasn't seen or spent time with his wife Judy in 10 weeks. And on Wednesday, he learned that she's suffering from pneumonia.
The few little windows of lucidity that a person in my position gets with their loved one who is succumbing to dementia. And 10 weeks of those have been missed, and now my wife has pneumonia. And we're probably at the end of the line.
Jim says Judy does not have COVID and that he praises the Arbor, saying that she's received great care there and that their staff is dedicated to its residents. So much so that they gave Jim the opportunity to physically visit his wife in her final days.
He said, come here, we'll suit you up completely, put you in a separate room with your wife, and you get to have that visit because that's what they do. That's how much they care, incredibly.
State leaders acknowledge the pain coronavirus restrictions are causing their residents, their families, and the dedicated people who work in these homes.
Very grateful to so many of these families for adhering to these restrictive limitations.
2 things have state leaders concerned. Number 1, out-of-state travel and then people coming back and then not following the 2-week quarantine rule, and gatherings, even small ones among friends and family. And state leaders say as the holidays approach, we should all be having conversations with our friends and family of what these gatherings should look like.
People come from all over the country just for Thanksgiving.
In any normal year, Sally Dwyer would be gearing up to celebrate Thanksgiving with 60 of her family members from across the country.
Thanksgiving is probably the biggest holiday for us. It's a family reunion every year. It's just a special time.
But rising coronavirus cases in Vermont and beyond are forcing her to have hard conversations about postponing their family tradition, meaning some of her family members will be alone for the holidays.
My autistic brother is also going to be by himself in a group home, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
State leaders are urging all Vermonters to make similar sacrifices as the weather gets colder and the holidays approach. Right now, the health department is monitoring over 40 situations stemming from parties, weddings, baby showers, and other small gatherings.
Even small gatherings can have a big impact, and larger gatherings obviously can have a larger impact.
With Thanksgiving and Christmas on the horizon, leaders want us to have the COVID talk with our families, discussing risk and potential spread. They also want us to lay low.
Our plans, our choices will have an impact on the health and lives of our families, communities, and Vermont.
Now, leaders are recommending gathering sizes of fewer than 10 people, but that's not a mandate yet. Many Vermonters know the weekly travel map, but conveying our message and strict quarantine rules to other states remains an issue.
It's difficult enough for us to communicate within our borders, much less outside of our borders, so it's up to each and every one of us to make this word known to those who we're inviting in.
And by curbing travel and keeping gatherings small, it'll prevent outbreaks and community spread. And that will keep schools open, meaning the social and developmental needs of kids can be met.
Development is rapid and exciting, but that also means that when opportunity is missed or delayed, that lost time can be unforgiving for children.
And when schools stay open, parents stay at work, and the economy can stay afloat.